You decide what you feed your family. Well, most of the time. Stonyfield, organic for all.
Young, the witch is out. There's a new boss in TNA Wrestling. And folks are still flipping their shit that I'm headed back to England, my invasion of the United Kingdom in October. We're going to talk more about that. And our guest today, one of the great women wrestlers of the modern era, Medusa Michelli. Now, but here's one of the great co-hosts of the modern era, like since February. And folks, it's the great Brian Last. Brian, how are you?
Mr. Co-host, the great Brian Last. Aloha, Jim. How are you today?
Oh, for heaven's sake. I put you all over and everything, just like your contract calls for. But, I'm excited today because the lead topic of conversation, and you may know some more about this than I don't know because I haven't actually been, it hadn't been my week to watch them, folks, my week to delve into TNA wrestling business. But I do know this much, that several days ago, whenever you're listening to this, folks, it was announced that Dixie Carter is no longer the president of Impact Wrestling, that it's Billy Corgan, that Dixie has taken a lesser position in the company. Are they trying to put something past us here? Is this legitimate? What's going on with this? Do you know anything about this? Have you heard about this? Have you read about this?
Sorry to say, I don't know too much just because I haven't been following this at all. I don't give a shit about this crap. Here's what I gotta guess. They've been desperate for money. Maybe Corgan threw some money in and, that got him the role as president. But she's still the chairwoman. It's not like she's out. She's still involved in...
She's a charwoman? You're saying she's cleaning the toilets and mopping up after people there? She's a charwoman? You saw the chairwoman.
Charred and feathered.
Charred and... But now, here's the thing. Apparently we have learned, this is what I've learned by my cursory examination of this situation here, about the only internet sources that I trust, which are Mike Johnson of PW Insider and Dave Meltzer and or Brian Alvarez at Wrestling Observer, Figure 4. But since Mommy and Daddy cut Dixie off however long ago, where Panda Energy was no longer, fucking the blood, the plasma that this fucking dying patient was hooked up to, that they come up with a company called Impact Ventures, I guess, and that's who's been running TNA Wrestling or Impact Wrestling or whatever name they are using this week to stay ahead of the law or attorneys or whatever the case. They changed their name more than fucking Kenny Bolin or Friendly Freddy. But anyway, Impact Ventures is now, Billy Corgan is the president of that. Can it be that he has purchased a controlling interest, or that Dixie has stepped down willingly instead of, because they were looking for a face-saving deal for her a couple of years ago when they actually almost legitimately sold it for real money at the time, and they weren't that far apart on money with the Toby Keith thing and everything, but Dixie's father wanted her to keep an on-air presence and some kind of nominal title as a face-saving thing, and that was the deal breaker, as I understood it, as I heard the story told. So is that what this is, or has she really lost control of the thing? We need to launch an investigation over the next few weeks and into this and bring this to light as other more responsible journalists who give a fuck more than we do, like Meltzer, Mike Johnson, etc., as they break this news, we'll turn around and repeat this news to our listeners. But as for now, from the way that, from the story as they tell it, is that the leader of the Smashing Pumpkins is now in control of the second or third, depending on how you measure these things, what metrics you use, biggest wrestling promotion in the United States of America, which is actually like being the fucking nicest guy in prison. It's not a huge honor at that point.
I'm hoping that Stephen Malkmus, the lead singer of Pavement, gets his hands on Ring of Honor. I think he can make some real serious changes.
The lead singer of Pavement? Now, how do you... how do you assess? Because I've talked to Billy Corgan a few times at TNA wrestling events. He's been a lifelong wrestling fan, and I can't honestly say that he would do any worse of a job. Certainly at creative, being a fan, one would think he'd be better than Dixie's opinion. And being as he's run actual businesses in the past, and was the Pumpkins just so over? People were just fighting him, saying, "Here, take my money, shut the fuck up and take my money." And certainly he had to work at these businesses. And so he's done something successfully. Right there, he's ahead of Dixie. Why wouldn't he be better than fucking Dixie, I wonder?
I don't think there's any reason why he wouldn't be. It's, and I think the one benefit of this is, by all accounts, the one thing I have heard is this move has caused an uptick in morale in TNA amongst the wrestlers, that he was going to be in charge and not Dixie, and it caused a lot of people to feel more optimistic about things going forward. Look, he's someone who, I've heard it from you, I've heard it from other people. When he's around wrestling, he's been respectful. He's a fan. He actually appreciates it. He bought the Bob Loose collection, so he obviously has an appreciation of wrestling history. I could also say that from the people I know in the music industry, there's not a single person that likes him. Everyone fucking hates him. What? They think he's the worst guy in the world, from bands to record executives. But again, I'm not going to judge him based on that, because this is wrestling.
What fault do they find with him as a person? Because I've not heard this.
He's notoriously a flaming asshole to a lot of people. I mean, ask his former band member.
And that kid's perfect for the wrestling business. He's fucking great.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there's been.
But let me ask you this then, because he seems. To me, when I've seen him or heard him talk about wrestling, he comes off as educated and well spoken, articulate, but such a meek. It doesn't seem like an asshole. He doesn't seem like a person. Is it just because assholishness is brought to a whole new level in the wrestling business, where we're screaming, "Motherfuck you! I'll fucking kill you"? Does that mean that somebody else from another business who's an asshole just looks meek by comparison?
I think, look, there are certain similarities between the worlds of rock and roll and the world of professional wrestling, but there's a big difference in that in music, and this isn't to justify anybody, any of the problems people have had with him or anything like that, but he's creating art, and in many ways he has to protect his art, whether it's the live show, whether it's the record.
You're just going to pretend like this isn't happening.
You think that I want to do this? Like, I can't wait to go to war? I think so much.
You think y'all Marines? I said, do you think y'all are Marines? You might be happy to be a Marine, but you look scared. Welcome to the brave, Marine. Welcome to the brave.
I'm damn sure I'm going to tell my kid I love him. We got to come up with some kind of secret word. Put my man down.
Yeah, I like that.
Anytime I want to say I love you, what am I going to say to you?
Written down.
Rated R, in theaters tomorrow.
Art, and in many ways he has to protect his art, whether it's the live show, whether it's the record, whether it's his relationship with the band who's playing his music. It's a different relationship than in wrestling, where he has to now oversee talent. He has to be the executive and work with other people. He has to work with other people. He can't just take his ball and go home like he did.
Well, actually, maybe I have more in common with Billy than I thought I did. Come to think of it, when you examine it that way, there are certain things that it's amazing that people can't fucking see with their own two eyes sometimes. But anyway, we've got to follow this from now over the next several weeks and see exactly how this formulates and percolates. And what comes of this, because with an actual legitimate, is it too late for TNA to have an actual legitimately sane, rational, and intelligent human being making some decisions, and they could possibly get ahead, or has she George W. Bushed them into the fucking ditch? We will find out. Meanwhile, a business venture that we know is going to succeed, Brian. The folks at What Culture Pro Wrestling over in the wonderful United Kingdom, people are flipping their shit about this, that on Twitter, and it's at the Jim Cornette and at Great Brian Last, folks. But then I'm going back to the UK, and they mentioned, everybody's talking about the flying thing. Yes, I will be Xanax to the gills, folks, but I will be being monitored. They're not just going to pin my mittens to my chest and send me off across the ocean on a plane. Stacy will be with me to monitor me at all times and make sure that I don't wander off somehow in a haze and don't get there. But it's exciting, Brad. It's bucket list stuff because in one trip I get to do the one man show that JR and I are doing, the two of us doing the one man show. The evening with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette that we have done we are doing in Baltimore in September, and we've done at his show in at the House of Blues in New Orleans, etc. We're doing that in London on Wednesday, October 5th. It's Inside the Ropes Live, the evening with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette. Imagine that. And the whole VIP thing and all that stuff. And you can go to my website, folks, and get the proper places to go for the tickets. But we're doing that on October 5th, and then October 6th in Newcastle, the What Culture Pro Wrestling Live iPay-per-view Refuse to Lose. We're doing the commentary along with our old friend Alex Shane. So I get to do commentary with JR for the first time, except for some OVW matches for you completionists out there, in like 17 years, and that's going to be fun. And also, while I'm over there on Saturday, October the 8th in Manchester for the Brit Rest Fest, I do a fan convention in the afternoon along with Kurt Angle, Cody Rhodes, and more. And then I'm calling the action that night, and Kurt is wrestling Cody Rhodes, and I get to see that in person. And I figured out the one first that I didn't get on my tour of the United Kingdom the last time was I was never actually at a wrestling show on British soil. It was all my shows or a wrestling school seminar or TV appearances, etc. So I didn't actually attend a wrestling show. So this will be my first wrestling show on foreign soil outside the North American continent. United States and Canada is what I'm saying to you, boy. So that's going to be cool. At first, and also they're being very gracious with me financially. They're paying me to make the trip and face death, stare death in the face, over and back in a metal tube, 5 miles in the air, going 500 miles an hour with a bunch of fucking strangers. But I'm doing the work while I'm there for free because it's shit that I'm really excited about doing. Seeing these shows. Doug Williams is going to work with Cody Rhodes in Newcastle, and Jay Lethal is going to be there defending the Ring of Honor title. With JR and I calling it, I can't imagine how it's going to be better than that. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm being paid to make the trip, and then I'm working over there for free while I'm doing it. And you can get all the information at jimcornette.com. Just click on events and appearances, and that will tell you where the fuck to go for all the tickets in it. For which the VIP tickets, Brian, as you can imagine, are flying off the shelves because people don't. Well, they have shelves that they put the tickets on, and then when somebody orders them, they fly right off, and that's what they do, son. I'm telling you. But no, they're flipping about it. They're tweeting us constantly now that we just got the VIP tickets. We're going to meet you there because I don't just show up in the United Kingdom every goddamn 2 weeks for a loaf of bread or whatever. This is a very rare occurrence, especially me and JR together. We're bi-continental now, or bi-country, or bi-curious. I don't know what the fuck JR and I are. It's that kind of show, folks, and you can get anything you want to out of it. MLW is expanding. Maybe that's part of the reason why the tickets are flying off the shelves for these fucking shows, because the podcast is getting so much bigger. Besides MLW having MVP and the Vic Flair show, Nick's boy Vic Flair over there, and Bruce Pritchard now, the Experience, of course, is the granddaddy of them all, the Starcade of these podcasts here at MLW, and we've got our own feed now. And you subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher and etc. And you rate and review us. You got to rate and review us because that helps somehow. I don't know. I think they're cooking these books, but we score quite highly. So anyway, now that MLW is expanding, you heard at the top of the program today, we got sponsors, folks. We've got legitimate operations, not these shady fly-by-night fucking propositions like Star Maker Bowling and his Bootleg Bowling Enterprises and Beats by Bowling. We've got legitimate people and upstanding members of the community now sponsoring the program, and Blue Apron is one of them. and Brian, I gave you a little bit of the scoop of this before we went on the air. But at BlueApron.com, you can basically go from start to finish on home cooked meals where you actually order the meals. They send you the recipe. They send you the ingredients to cook the meal, and you cook the meal to their specifications. And it's fucking wholesome. I shouldn't say fucking now. These are very wholesome people, but it's wholesome ingredients. The sustainable seafoods and the humane chicken and all that stuff. And they give you the recipes, which Stacey's investigating this for me, folks. The Queen of Castle Cornette. She's the one that'll be cooking this, and she has already investigated this, but basically, the ingredients are wholesome and good quality, and you get a recipe instead of just being like me and coating everything in some kind of fucking crumbing and throwing it in a deep fryer. So it's actually healthy also. But aren't you proud that we're leading this charge to get the cult of Cornette to start eating healthy?
I'm very proud.
You need to have the Queen of your castle up there, the baronage of Brian. You need to have her hopping onto the Blue Apron bandwagon, ordering this stuff. You need to eat a little better yourself.
She's got a red apron, and she's Colombian. I don't have to ever worry about the food that I'm getting. It's always good.
Well, but they deliver it right to your door. And
that is true, and
it's so much easier.
And I understand they have a special for Jim Cornette Experience listeners. If you call up and make an order some succotash, you get the Bill Dundee special. And what that is they'll deliver you some potatoes right to your door.
Yeah, Dundee definitely delivered the potatoes, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, go to BlueApron.com and check this out. They've got the menus. They got.
This is gonna be the best day of my life. This is gonna be. Watch the new music video for the best day of my life. Click here.
They got the recipes. You can get 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/experience. It's a better way to cook, folks. I'm just telling you. And I might as well just let everybody know the few places that I will be appearing live for the rest of the year, Brian. You've missed out, I think. I think I'm done in the Northeast for the rest of the year now. So you've missed out on me.
I may have to come down there then. Okay.
You may have to come down here. Next Saturday, August 27th in Shinston, West Virginia, I'll be at Gold Rush 3 for the APWA in the city of Shinston with the Rock and Roll, Powers Pain, and some more. And then the Fall Brawl Tour, Friday, September 16th at the Inner Geek at the Town Center Mall in Ashland, Kentucky, my friend Jared Greer's store. I'll be doing a book signing for Tuesday night at the Gardens, Pro Wrestling in Louisville. Come on by and say hello from 6 to 9 p.m. in Ashland, Kentucky. And Saturday, September 17th, for my friends Scotty Ace and Ken Cantrell, a Bluegrass Championship Wrestling at the Fall Festival in Barbersville, West Virginia. It's a noon bell time. I'll be doing my meet and greet starting at 11 o'clock. And it's going to be a beautiful day for it. That is, of course, my birthday. So bad things do not happen on my birthday. It's not going to rain. Friday, September 23rd, ringside, an evening with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette. We're practicing for London, folks, in Baltimore at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. The seafood will be better in Baltimore than it will in London. So come on and make yourself a chance to get great seafood and wonderful entertainment all in one tremendous event that we're taking internationally on the road. And Saturday, September 24th, for MCW Pro Wrestling, the tribute to the legends in Joppa, Maryland. The convention is 10 to 4. The bell time is 7:30. MCWProWrestling.com for all the information. JimCornette.com for more information than that. And holy mackerel, after I go to England, when I come back, I'm going to be scarce, Brian, because I'm working on the new book this winter also. The Smoky Mountain book. You're going to be in it.
Oh, fantastic. I can't wait for that one.
I'm not going to be complimentary to you, but you're going to be...
When I said fantastic, I meant go fuck yourself.
Yeah, well, hey, yeah. No, you'll be the story of you being the only teenage Smoky Mountain Fan Week attendant to not only come unaccompanied by an adult, but also punch another fan in the face and actually get away with it. Those are the Super Summer Sizzler Series and Fall Brawl events, folks. And what are they doing over on 605, your show, this week across the hall?
Oh, we got a big show again this week, Jimmy. First of all,
I
thank you,
figured
everyone.
you would. Yeah, you've always got a big show every week.
And every week across the hall, we got a big show.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone for the kind words I received about the Jeannie Clark interview. I think it's one of the best things that's ever been on the show. So everyone go check that out the last 2 weeks. But this week on the show, I have a long discussion with Terry Garvin Sims. A lot of you may remember him from Global Wrestling Federation, I should say, in Dallas. A lot of you may remember him from working for Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler as part of the Beauty and the Beast tag team with Mark Oline. So, of course, we talk about Mark Oline. We talk about going to Bill Dundee's training school. We talk about, the troubles for a wrestler. You could probably identify with this, Jimmy, when you're considered in the Bill Dundee / Jerry Jarrett camp, and the 6 months are up, and Jerry Lawler takes over as booker, and all of a sudden you don't have a job. We talk about that and lots of other things. It's a really fun interview, and also this is really cool. There is a sports commentator years ago, also a news broadcaster named Rod Luck, and he broadcast in Philadelphia for a time. And every 3 weeks, based around a Philadelphia Spectrum show, he had wrestlers come on his show live at the Ribbit, believe it or not, of all places.
Oh, my God.
And he would take callers, and he would have live people there asking questions. And we're going to play the first one of those with Gorilla Monsoon on the show this week from 1983. And also, I haven't recorded it yet, so hopefully everything works out. Rod himself will be on the show to talk a little bit about how he set this up with Vince McMahon Sr., as well as his other experiences around professional wrestling. As a promotional stunt, he once wrestled Billy Robinson, and that did not go so well. So all that and much, much more on the 605 Super Podcast. Every week you can get it at 605pod.com. You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, and everywhere else. Everywhere you steal a file from, it should be there. And, of course, Facebook.com/superpodcast. You can find out all the information, as well as buy a shirt. So Facebook.com/superpodcast.
Oh, for God's sake. And I'll tell you what, I would pay $500 right now to be able to have a feeding frenzy at Ribbit.
You ain't lying, are you? Oh, man.
And for the people who do not know, in the late 80s, early 90s, when I was either visiting Philadelphia monthly for Jim Crockett Promotions or World Championship Wrestling, and then going down there constantly to work for Dennis Corluzzo, etc., Ribbit was the place we would go after, especially after the Civic Center shows every month, where Dennis Corluzzo would take a bunch of us we'd get the upstairs room and like a table for 12, 14 people or whatever, and have the feeding frenzy at Ribbit. And whether it be ribs or wings or those strawberry iceberg drinks or just the standard food that you would imagine for this type of place. Oh my God, it was legendary. That's where I first met Candido and Tammy when they were just, kids tagging along. But the Ribbits now, sadly, folks, especially the one on Second Street, where it was a cool old building down on Second Street in Philly, and we'd get the upstairs room and fill the whole thing up, and once again just eat until they closed down. But now they're all gone. They've been gone for years now in Philly. I don't know what the fuck happened. It was a license to print money, it looked like to me. I don't know how they could fuck that up, but for whatever reason, Ribbit is gone. Somebody needs to fill us in on that fucking reasoning also.
Well, Jimmy, if Dennis Corluzzo was alive, there's no way the Ribbit would have gone out of business. So someone in Philadelphia, someone in South Jersey, if you know what's going on, let us know. Why did Ribbit go out of business?
Yes. But here's somebody that's never gone out of business. She's still cooking now just like she was before. Now, our guest today was a star in every major American promotion and in Japan at the same time in the late 80s, early 90s. She made a lot of history on both WWF and WCW TVs during the Monday Night War. She drives monster trucks and grooms puppy dogs because she's all out of bubblegum, man. I don't know what it is. Medusa Michelli. Have we got Medusa on the phone?
Oh, my gosh. What kind of intro was that? That was a little, a little caustic, don't you think?
But you've done everything everywhere, and you have such Ducey. You also literally you drive monster trucks, but groom puppy dogs at the same time. You're all over the place. You're a conundrum. You're a mean, vicious killer in the ring, but yet you groom little puppy dogs. You're a beautiful woman, but yet you're out there driving these monster trucks. We just don't know what to make of you.
Oh, well, a bit of an anomaly, I guess. However, dogs have been my passion. Animals are my passion. So when I wasn't beating people up or getting my road rage in the monster truck, what I did is years and years ago, over 15 years ago, I put myself through school. And because when you're in the wrestling business, you're always striving, trying to get that paycheck, wondering when you're going to wrestle again. Is this forever? And no, it's not. And so I always had things going on the back burner just in case if something wasn't working, I could revert to something else. So I know really. Don't interrupt me, damn it! We haven't even started yet. We haven't even started talking about frickin'.
Well, no, when we talked a couple months ago on the phone and we were catching up, and you told me, oh, and by the way, and I went through school and the grooming school and I did the dogs and the rescuing and the whole thing. I couldn't believe it that you had gone through that whole thing, and you're an expert in all this now. Yeah.
No, well, let me finish. So, being a woman in the business, even back then, we were considered like a freak show, and we were just an extra. We were something that could circle jerk around the ring with, or we weren't put on that high of a pedestal back then. I really looked at and gave credit due. So with all of that, which we will so heavily get into, I always had to have something going on in the back because I was the breadwinner. I was, I made the family go around. I put it together. So I said, you know what? I love animals. I raise wolves. I do this and all this with animals, taking rescues.
Well, yeah, yes, now wait a minute.
Wait. I'm going to put my ass around pool.
You glossed over.
You don't understand. You don't understand. At the ripe age of 50, you can't ask me 10 things at once because I'm going to forget what we talked about and I won't be able to go back to the next. So, let me finish. When I go to school, finish grooming, I did my master's in grooming. So, I'm grooming these dogs for shows, master grooming and dog grooming. And I opened up my own shop, which is called Cool Cats and Hot Dogs. And I've been doing that ever since. So there, what's your next one?
Well, you glossed over the lead, though. You just said you glossed over like raising wolves and then went on to the next thing. No, you actually legitimately raised wolves. Also, it's the same thing I had to ask. You legitimately raised wolves. Part of the grooming was because you couldn't find anybody else nutty enough to go in there and give a wolf a haircut.
That's true. That is so damn true. I swear to God. So what happened was that way back when, and I wanted a dog, I wanted a big dog, and I thought, I did my due diligence, and I was going from, a mastiff to a wolf. Completely way out there at extremes to A to Z. Mastiff to wolf. So I'm thinking, okay, so I really did the history, and I thought, well, wolves would be really cool, but boy, that's just not a pet. So then I found some people down south that really thought wolves were cool to have as a pet, and they couldn't. And I found that they had these wolves hung on chains, and it pissed me off. So I did all of my research and schooling and had all these hours logged that I had to do to be a part of the Florida State Wild Game, whatever. And so I started taking in wolves as a habitat. So on one of my properties in Florida, I had this natural habitat, a wolf habitat of 3.5, 4 acres of wolves running around. At one time, I had 18 wolves, and they were all my babies. And so a wolf is not a pet, but they become my pets. And I tried to get them, get them neutered so they wouldn't have babies. And it was just, of course, a couple of them ended up having babies. So I took a couple of them, and I raised them in the house. So there was a few favorites. But for me to gain their respect, I actually had to go out in the field. I stayed out there. I camped out there, overnight to become the alpha.
So you were the leader of the pack, Deucey.
Well, I'd like to say that in everything I did.
That's what we fell for, the leader of the pack. No,
leader of the pack. Yes.
You talked about it a minute ago that you know, when women's wrestling at some points was kind of like the sideshow business. You were one of the first women, at least in the modern era. We have, obviously, Mildred Burke was an example of this, but in the modern era, you took your wrestling seriously, and you did it at a high level, whether it be with All Japan Women or if you were featured on an AWA event, you were the champion. You and Sherry worked a long program there. If you were in the WWF with Bull Nakano, you took your wrestling seriously, but you were. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass here, but you're more, let's say, physically attractive than the average girl in Moolah's crew had been, like in the 70s or whatever. You were one of the first ones with the whole package. You're kind of like Ronda Rousey. So, but you always wanted to be taken more seriously as an athlete and for your wrestling than just some of the eye candy that some of the girls were treated as.
Well, thank you, sir. And I was. Even till to this day, you know, I had to push the doors open and make, you know, crap happen and be an advocate for women. It was like starting all over back in the old wrestling days into the monster truck business, which we'll get into. So the same crap, same thing, fighting up, clawing, the same thing has happened there through all these last 17 years of monster trucks. But, you know, to give credit where credit is due, and the Moolah and Mildred Burke, oh my gosh, which was fabulous, and all the women that actually made it, that started the root, were all these wonderful branches and, you know, of women wrestling in the business. It had to start somewhere. And we accepted beauty from what it was, and everything.
I had a dream so big and loud, I jumped so high I touched the clouds. I stretched my hands out to the sky, we danced with monsters through the night. I'm never gonna look back, no, if you let me feel it. Whoa, you're my Gio. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. I've been moving friends and then they sinking crashing. But all the possibilities, no limits, here for you. I hear it calling outside my window. I feel it in my soul. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life, just like your life. It's gonna be the best day of my life. My life.
evolves. Everything goes, everything grows, everything moves, everything, goes with the wind, is the old saying. And back then we had, I guess, the golden era where, you didn't expose much, but they were different. They were beautiful, and they could, Moolah kicked some butt. I remember. I'm still here today, and I was, probably one of the only few left that got to wrestle Moolah. And it was, boy, let me tell you.
Moolah was tough. She may not have. She may not have maintained her looks into her 80s from the way she looked in the 50s. She could still hit as hard. It seemed like possibly even stiffer at that point.
if not verbally in the pocketbook, then probably still in the ring. Yes. So that era is what rooted and grounded women to the start. And
what's your Moolah story?
Oh God. Okay, but I do want to get back on this. So, all right.
Okay, I'll make a note.
My Moolah story was, I was, still green, and I remember it was like Velvet McIntyre, Donna Cristantello, myself, and here I am, this newest kid with all of these veterans, and I was just like, marking out, but quietly. I didn't say anything. I always kept my mouth shut. And it was Moolah and I. And she goes, show me what you got, girl. Let's go. And I'm like, oh, shit. What the hell? And that's back then where they didn't talk to you. And I had the best Sherry Martel story, too. And she goes, okay, come on, let's get in here, and we're going to do da-da-da-da-da-da. And that was it. Didn't even nothing. Didn't even go over a finish, really. And out of nowhere, because I was like this power-hungry, just, I was lifting weights, squatting 225 for like 20 reps, and I was just like ungodly back then, and I was probably a freak to them because they'd never seen that back then. And I was, trying to put a little athleticism, a little bit of glamour in there back then, and I was like twisting all their minds. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I picked Moolah up for an airplane spin.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. Oh, no, listen, so I picked her up for an airplane spin, and that bitch, oh my God, she pulled my hair when I was standing trying to spin around. She goes, you better pull my ass down. I'm going to beat you to each pillar and pole in this ring. You don't pick up an old woman and airplane spinning her around like this. Get my ass down there. She's screaming this in the middle of the ring. And I throw her down. I went to cover, and she punched me right in the frickin' face, man. Out of nowhere. We're talking potato. And I just looked at her, and I'm like,
that was the difference in your two styles. You went for an airplane spin, and she just punched you in the face with her fist. It would have been like when Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors working for Vern, when they tried to press slam Bruiser and Crusher. And Bruiser and Crusher, like, what the fuck are you doing? Anything we want.
So it was just like, and then right then and there at the back, she wouldn't talk to me. It was just, she was snorting like a pig through that whole match. She wouldn't talk to me after that. I didn't know what the frick was going on. And this was before, like I had the Sherry experience. And I was like, holy crap, man, I thought people were supposed to get along. Weren't we supposed to talk? And I'm like, wow, I better just...
Would Moolah have...
Huh?
Moolah would have been, like 60 at that point anyway? Because she was still defending the title every night until she was 65.
Oh, my God.
Hey, how did you break in anyway? Because I mentioned the Road Warriors. Did you, in Minneapolis, did you come in through Eddie Sharkey also?
Well, listen to this. So, to wrap up the Moolah story, so we get back in the dressing room. I'll get to that in a second. And she looked at me. She came right up to my face and literally slapped me across the face because if you ever do that again. And she's just staring at me. Right now, I'm probably pissing myself because I don't know what the hell to make out of this whole, wrestling shit. And I'm like, what do I do? I just hang up my boots now or what? And she's staring at me, and then she started laughing. She goes, you're going to have a good future, girl. And she walked away.
Oh, God.
No, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. I thought, well, what the fuck? What was that?
What do you think with this grandmother who's actually taking bumps, press slams off the top and shit at some point? And Mae Young, who's older than Moolah.
A lot of respect. A lot of respect, Jimmy. I mean, I thought, who the hell am I to be walking into the ring with this woman anyway? You know, and I ate it up, and I tried to listen and watch, but when she started punching me and slapping me, I just wanted to bitch slap that woman back, but I thought, I can't do that. You know, so I just took it, and I just took it and took it, and and I'm glad I sort of did back then. Now, you'd have a cat fight of a woman in the locker room nowadays, or they'd be going to, oh, I can't.
Well, I think you'd be okay now because Moola'd be like 94. So I think you'd be all right.
I don't mean just against Moolah, but anyway. So yes, Minneapolis. So I'm originally from Minnesota, and a lot of great talent came. You know, there were certain parts. You know, you had the South and Memphis. I mean, there was some great just hot spots for wrestling. You know, and I can proudly say that I came out of the camp of Minnesota. And I was putting myself through college through nursing. So I was going to mend bones instead of breaking them, but I chose to break them instead. And I was at some bar. It was not really a bar. It was like a beach bar restaurant. And a girlfriend of mine was dating a guy named Kyle Michelson, which was a Hollywood stunt producer. And I thought, okay, great, I could be a stunt woman. I was a big jock, a gymnast, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, okay. So he kept approaching me, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. So let's figure this out. And he goes, no, I thought you meant pro wrestling. And I thought, he's got to be freaking kidding me. So then he introduced me to Ed Sharkey. And because he said Ed Sharkey owns him a few favors, and I didn't know any of this background. And Ed Sharkey when Sharkey was really selling watches out of his damn trench coat. No shit. So, and I'm like, okay, so this guy brings me to a 24 by 24 room with a mat that's sweaty and nasty and just all, torn apart, and had all these greasy, sweaty guys, and I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to leave college for this. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute now. I got my gymnastics background, I've busted records, I can do this. Yeah. So I'm looking. So I said, oh, I'll try it finally. So the next day, I got some tennis shoes, and I start rolling around. I'm like, man, I'm hooked. I am digging this. I am digging this shit, man. So there I was, training with the guys, still going to school, doing whatever, and all of a sudden Ed goes, we're going to put you in your first match. And I said, what? It's only been a month, or 2 weeks, or whatever it was. And I said, you're kidding, right? And he goes, no, you're wrestling some girl named Daniel Rose, or I can't remember that name. Daniel Rose, or something like that. And I'm like, okay, so it was in a BFW bar. It was in a bar. And I can remember I had these white and gold boots I had made, my very first boots, which I still have. And I remember I was so nervous. I had this little leotard on, and, I was just like, I didn't know exactly what to wear. And, of course, all my shit was sticking out from mitts to the left and right, and people were yelling shit in the bar, and I got offended. And I started yelling at people in the audience more than I was wrestling my damn opponent, because I took everything personal, and I didn't know how to just, to differentiate, keep this.
I can't believe knowing how shy.
What the hell I was doing? I don't know what the hell I was doing.
Knowing how shy and retiring you are, Deucey, I can't imagine knowing how shy and retiring you are. You would fire back at people at a bar.
Why are you looking at my boobs? I was screaming. Why are you stop looking at my tits? And blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, really? So that's what's important, and I'm forgetting I'm in a bar, and here I am, throwing people around. And so then he brought me over to Brad Raines. Oh, my gosh. So that's when I really got some good training. And Brad Raines, you know Brad Raines? Yeah.
Yes, and Brad actually, Sharkey was the one who could get you in on the shows that he did, but Brad's the one who could actually teach you how to wrestle.
Yes, absolutely. And if it wasn't for Brad, my gosh, I wouldn't have the Facebook I do or did then. And
hey, just so you know, actually, this will appeal to Brian also as a dentist of the week potentially. Eddie Sharkey gets booked on a show for Dennis Corluzzo in New Jersey. And he is going, because he refereed often in Minnesota, he was also going to referee on this show, but it was one of the NWA deals when Dennis was a bigwig in the NWA, right? So Eddie Sharkey is one of the referees, and the main event is a cage match between whoever the fuck and whoever the fuck, right? I don't know. But Gino Moore, Fat Gino Moore, was the keeper of the key of the cage. And in the finish, Eddie Sharkey was supposed to go out and get the key and open up the cage door and go in and count the pinfall, right, for the babyface to win. Well, what happened was Gino was north of 400 pounds, and when he sat in the chair at ringside, it collapsed underneath him. He fell down, he hit the back of his head. It was so hot in the armory because it was sold out that they had to take Fat Gino Moore, the 400-pound ring attendant, out to the goddamn back to get some air, right, to recover his consciousness. Well, meanwhile, they go into the fucking finish. Well, we see the cue for Sharkey, right? And we send him out there, but now he doesn't have his glasses on, so he can't find the cage door because he's so nearsighted. He can't find the cage door. And when he finally gets to the cage door, he can't understand why nobody's giving him the key because the key's still around Fat Gino's neck, who's out in the backyard getting the fucking air from knocking himself out because he was so fucking fat he collapsed the chair. And I'm standing there in front of him,
How do you remember this shit? How do you remember this shit? Oh my God!
Because it was supposed to be my finish they were doing. I'm standing back there screaming, "You stupid motherfuckers! You fucking... Oh, God damn it!"
That's a good one. That's about Sharky, too, because, dude, he would have me drive 300 miles one way, and then 300 miles the next, that same night I had to come back because he had me booked somewhere else. Yeah. But he paid me $5. $5, dude, and I slept in a freaking tub with 4 dudes on the floor of the hotel. I am not kidding. There's another one I'd like to bitch slap. But it was all good. It was all good, man.
But you were getting experience.
Huh?
You were getting experience. You were paying those dudes.
Dude, that's how you get knowledge. Yeah, that's right, dude.
God.
That's how I lost my savings. My car got repossessed. I was living on the street. Thank you, Ed fucking Sharkey. That's what I'm saying.
Well, now, hey, how did you get booked in the AWA? Because, Sharkey and Vern had been on the outs since Sharkey shot Vern's office up back in the late 60s.
You know why, don't you? You know why, right?
You want to tell a story, but I
no. Well, they're half gone now, right? So I can say, but I don't know.
Oh, wasn't it that Vern was messing around with Sharky's wife or girlfriend?
Sharky's wife?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
dude,
Sharky came in the office and fired about 5 or 6 shots, right? And for some reason, Vern didn't book him a lot after that.
Oh my God! It was
so how'd you get working for Vern? How'd you get the job for Vern then?
This is perfect. This is a great way. This is a great segue into Sherry Martell. So let's go.
Don't
even go there. Anyway, so I was doing my thing. I'm doing whatever, and now I started up independent for at least 4 or 5 years. 5 years at least I was pounding pavement, And I swear to God, that's the only thing I was
walking the streets.
And I was just pounding the streets, yes. And of course, there's a few other choices I could have done, but I chose not to. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, I get this call. I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, yes? Hello, who's this? I'm thinking, is this another one of them 20 bill collectors that are calling me back then, making $5 from Ed Sharkey? And, yes, this is Deborah. This is Deborah. How can I help you? This is Wahoo McDaniel calling from the AWA. And I was wondering if you can, and I said, I'm sorry, who is this? Wahoo McDaniel from AWA? I said, yes, can you hold on 1 second? And back then you had those ugly phones with the big old thing, and I put the receiver in my hand, and I go, yes, they're screaming really loud. Yes, oh my God, I'm just going to take that. Yes, Wahoo, how can I help you? And then, right back, We were wondering, we're looking for somebody to wrestle Sherry Martel. And I said, and then again, I covered the phone and I started screaming out. He came back, he goes, you know, I can hear you, right? I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. He goes, yeah, I go, yeah, when do I come in? When do I come in? So I came in and I remember I walked in and it's this long hallway and there's this office. It was Burns and the old brown everything, those old brown desks and the old brown tables and bread. I see bread or something. And there's Burns sitting right there. And I think Sherry and all them were in the back and they were doing TV. And Wahoo was sitting there. And we've been looking at some of your independents, and we really like your style. And would you be interested in doing a run with Sherry and see how it goes? Yes.
Gadgetsan, the city of opportunity. Gadgetsan, where the gangs roam the streets. Gadgetsan, full of swindlers and cheats. Swindlers sing, riggedy-ding, on the beats. Gadgetsan, where crowd does away. Gadgetsan, but we do it anyway. Take on your rivals for your gang survival and the dirt that belongs to your clan. Everybody is a kid, everyone's great. Welcome to the big time, pal. On the beat, Gadgetsan. Now who's got the upper hand?
And would you be interested in doing a run with Sherry and see how it goes? Yes, sir, absolutely. All right, well, we need you in here to do TV and some promos and oh shit, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 oh shit, and there's Burns sitting there, and he goes, he looks at Wahoo, he goes, he breathes like that, he starts talking like through his teeth, and he could barely, he starts getting excited. He's like, answer the door, Wahoo, answer the door. And so it's coming in, and it's Sherry Martel. Oh, I see that you're getting a replacement for me already. She's already at it. And I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm going to... And the only flashback I had was Lula. I'm like, this woman's going to beat the crap out of me, too. Oh, my God. You know, it was like there was no happiness ever. And I'm like, all of a sudden she goes, well, I'll come back. And she slams the door, and Wahoo goes, and that'll be Sherry Martel, the one you'll be wrestling. And I just kind of looked at him and went, oh, God.
What did
my head right away, nothing. So,
what did you have to get over? Because Sherry could get fired up. What did you have to do to get over finally with Sherry?
What did I have to do to finally get over with her? Oh, my God, I think I finally got over with Sherry was like 10 years later. She didn't like me. I know. She didn't like me for like 10 years. She thought I was the epitome of the new women coming in looking the way I did. And she would always say, how dare you wear those see-through nylons and you don't wear the shoestring in your bathing suit to tie around your legs so it don't lift up on your ass. You're showing everything. Now you're wearing those teabag things. I was the first one to wear those teabags up your ass.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I'm like, oh, my God. She so hates me. She hates me because I turned women's wrestling into, well, back then, I guess I turned it into the divas, before it was even divas, into, you know, from the golden era to whatever it needed to be. Anyway, I
just realized that now Sherry was that decade's version of Ole Anderson with me. It's like, oh, you goddamn guys in a rocker full of the midnight, you gotta do too much. I told him this in Charlotte this a couple weeks ago at Fan Fest. We had the roast for him on Sunday morning. And I said, Ole, I just, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say that you're one of the great heel performers of all time in this business. You're a legend. And 30 years ago, you said, You and the Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express, you're going to do too much shit, you're going to kill the business. And I said, fuck, that would never fucking happen. What the I said,
What the hell?
30 years later, I'm going to apologize. We weren't the ones that killed it, but they did do too much and killed it.
See?
Oh,
Well,
my God.
I don't know.
Because now you would be viewed as... You're viewed as an old timer with those old, those old regressive ideas. Wrestling has evolved now. We can have the Invisible Man.
I don't know how I survived. I mean, Sherry was very fastidious. She was very demanding. She was hard to please. You know what I mean? And it was like you never knew if she was going to who she was going to be that next day or night or in the ring, but yet her and I became the best of friends. Just the closest. I mean, before years before she passed, her and I, whatever I never thought we had anything to reconcile. But she always thought I ruined women's wrestling by the way I dressed and changed things. So I never understood that, but I guess that's how people see or perceive women, how, when the Attitude Era started, when the whole Playboy thing and the nudeness and all the races, oh my God. So everyone thought women ruined it then too. Can you imagine? I wasn't wearing a gunny sack back then practically. I didn't ruin anything, but that was the era of me, ruining women's wrestling. So anyway, then fast forward. Yeah, so I had this great thing, and I wrestled with Vern. AWA was so good to me. Vern, I will say, was so good to me. He was so fair. He gave me so much TV time, or as much as, whatever. And he let me speak when I didn't know how to speak. He let me try to talk when I couldn't talk or stumble. I was just there. He gave me opportunity, and I kept stumbling. And he gave me people to manage and kept me out there, kept my face out there. And I was used in a good way. I wasn't just this. I never wanted to put myself out there as just a tool. And I was so against that from day one. I always told myself, I'm a damn athlete. If this is entertainment, I am going to still try to make this as athleticism as I could. And that was the very first thing I said to myself in pro wrestling when I first started. And no matter where it went or how or route or whatever era decided to pop up in the last 30 years, it's just been amazing what I've seen. I just either to live in this business, you have to go with it. You go with the punches, you find your way, you reinvent yourself in some ways. I love old school, Judy, and I know you do too, and I think there's so much great things about it. We need to, with pro wrestling, we've got to kind of like slow down a bit maybe and let things milk a little bit more than just already hurry up in your freaking face and not enjoy it and forget every 10 seconds later. But there's still beauty in history. That's why they call it history, and people always revert back to history because it's what made it what it is.
When you were working for Vern at that period, not only were you had a program with Sherry, you wrestle and defend the women's title, but also you got a chance to work ringside with Kurt, right? Kurt Hennig, who was kind of like he was the female version of you because he was the most athletic guy probably in the AWA at that point.
Yeah. Yes,
and so I remember made a great package.
Thank you. And you know what? It was such an honor to be alongside with so many of these great men there that, furthered on or didn't, but there was so much great talent in the AWA that, just developed. And being with Kurt, I really was like a sponge in the business. I really was quiet and I listened and I watched. I watched more than anything, and I watched everything that I could in reruns. And Kurt, I learned a lot of style from Kurt, and that's why I talk about Kurt a lot sometimes in interviews or whatever. And he was very quiet and cocky in his own way, and it came out in the ring. And Rick Rude was another one. He was that quiet, cocky type of guy that really could cut a promo. And Loved being with those two very, very much. And I mean, with all the other guys too, but those two, I hate to say favorites, but it was fun. It really was. It was fun.
It was that Minnesota Mafia. Is what it was.
Minnesota Mafia. That's some funny crap. No, but you know what? And the thing with Vern, though, too, is that he gave me my first opportunity when I lost everything before. When I say living in my car, I mean, it was legit. When I lost my car, I was actually living on the street for a while and, homeless. But I stuck to it. I could have reverted to other things. I could have done anything, but I never reverted to drugs, prostitution. And there were so many opportunities in life that when things get bad, that seems to be an easy route. I never took it. I mean, I was detriment. I was just, oh my gosh. So when I got my first paycheck from AWA, it was $800 wrestling Sherry Martel in the Cow Palace. And I took that first check and bought tombstones for my family that didn't have any. So every time I went to the graveyard, there wasn't, I could never figure out where they were freaking buried at. And so I took my first paycheck, Jimmy, and I bought headstones for everybody. And then after that, going to oh my gosh, I'm really blank. But AWA always went to Vegas and at the Showboat. Was it Showboat?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were at the Showboat and we were doing TV tapings, and he utilized me, and I just it was amazing. And that's when I got my opportunity for Japan. Now, there happened to be a tour of the Japanese going around and around, and they happened to be coming by AWA and, Vegas to check us out. Well, I knew when I started wrestling, when I said, back up, I said I was doing my due diligence on what does it take to be a wrestler, and what do I have to do to be different, to stick out, and I just don't want to be, this good-looking girl that people can just yell about my boobs about. So I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference. I want to do something that's going to be remembered. So I looked, and before I even started to back it way up, I thought, if I'm going to start pro wrestling, even with Ed Sharkey, I got to think of a name. I got to think of a name that's American. I got to think of something, because my goal is to go to Japan. My goal is to become this wrestler that, is serious and that wants to bring it back to the States and twist it up with American style. And so I thought, okay, Medusa, M-A-D-U-S-A, not M-E-D, but M-A-D-U-S-A. Okay, that's it. They can chant it. It's 3 syllables. It's American, and the Japanese are going to go with it. I thought of that name, trademarked that name, when I had my first independent show, Jimmy. I am not kidding. These are 5, 6, 7 years before I even went to Japan. But I saw that was
actually, let me flatter you again, because I always thought it was a cool name.
I'm not trying to flatter.
Well, no, but I always thought it was a cool name, and I've always been into alliteration. I love the Medusa Michelli, or the alliterative effect of the Hulk Hogan used from the best, right?
Right.
But that's why I was, once again, every time, and I know we're hopping ahead because I want to talk about Japan, but every time somebody, some star, some previously known star, whether it be Terry Funk or anybody, would come into the WWF, they change their fucking name, it used to just send chills and shivers down my spine. I wanted to choke somebody, and Medusa Michelli to me was cooler than Alundra Blaze.
Well, we'll get to that too. We'll talk about that. That was a great conversation I had with Vince about those two names. So kind of check that out, and we'll get to that here real quick. So yeah, so
I'll make another note. Yeah, I'm writing it down now.
Yeah, you better just throw that in that bowl of something there. Hey, are those other two dudes still with us? Are you still back there, guys?
Oh, yeah. Brian nods off every once in a while when I've talked to friends. But anyway.
Yeah, right. Am I boring you back there? What the frick?
It's what the...
Okay, so... Okay.
But anyway, you're back to Japan.
No. So I was thinking my name back to Japan. So I'm actually in the Showboat. And so they came by and they saw, they saw me wrestle. And then so they came up to me in my dressing room and they said, hi, Medusa, how are they? Hi, Medusa, it's the we like your style. Will you come to Japan? And I'm like, yeah, it's only been my 7-year dream here, or 6-year dream. And they go, okay, you come to Japan. So anyway, fast forward, I went to Japan for 6 weeks. Oh my gosh, it was the greatest thing. And then I came home, went back 6 weeks, back and forth a couple times. Then they offered me the first time ever 3-year handshake American woman contract ever. I took it, I stayed, I learned, I breathed, I ate, I slept, I even learned the language, I traveled, everything Japan. Jimmy, my heart is Japan. It always will be. It totally defined who I was as a wrestler. And I knew after so many years that I needed to get back to the States because, after 2 years or so, your fan base, everything changes. And I didn't want to.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Also, to be honest, when you were over there in Japan, was there at the time? I know they would bring some American talent in for appearances, but was there ever any other gaijin talent for All Japan Women that stayed any length of time like that? Is what I'm trying to spit out, as you did.
No, sir. No, sir. They didn't. After I was gone, they saw what such a success it was and stuff. Which it has to start somewhere. Everything has to start somewhere. And I've always wanted, and I believe this is that. I swear to God, I've been the paver. There should be a freaking title for everybody that has ever paved the way that doesn't get to reap the benefits later in life of everything that they've created called the paver job. I'm a paver.
It's the timing. You blaze a trail.
I've been ahead of my time, dude.
When you blaze a trail, it's always bumpier. You're there first.
That could be fun for only two things. One, with my husband in the bedroom, or two, just knocking sense out of me and being stupid and always continue to do it or whatever. So anyway, back in Japan. So yeah, I did. There was women. There are people that come over and they would get up from all over. It's the greatest. I mean, the one I really loved to wrestle was Leilani Kai. Leilani Kai has been so underrated and so. I mean, she deserves so much recognition. She was part of the whole move up before me, and this woman is still going hard and strong at it, and she doesn't get hardly any recognition, and it pisses me off.
I managed Lonnie in 1982. She actually the first person I managed was Sherry Martel. And the only reason
you know exactly what I was talking about.
Listen, the only reason it wasn't a tie with Leilani Kai is because Lonnie was in bed sick with the flu that day. Then she didn't come to TV. But then I managed the two of them as the Women's United States Tag Team Champions in Memphis. First thing I did, they just said for a week. We got the girls coming through the territory. Where you're going to buy their contracts to manage them. They're U.S. Tag Team Women's Champions. And so I managed Lonnie in the Cook Convention Center in September of 1982. And then it was the following, I would guess 3 or 4 days later, didn't even get a chance to do it in the rest of the territory. Plowboy Frazier fell on Sherry Martel's leg in a battle royal in Jackson and broke it. And Lonnie left the territory to do something else because her tag team had been flummoxed. But I know Lonnie for years. She's a great talent. She's one of the ones that could make the transition to work in the Japanese style with the Japanese girls, but it was hard. There weren't very few of you girls, I say you guys, very few of you guys could work like that back in those days.
Yeah. And I would say it took it. I'm not that I'm calling Leilani or myself out and we're better than anybody else. It just took a certain type of talent or person that had that. I'm telling you, it was just either you had it or you didn't. It's like charisma, even for wrestling. Either you have it or you don't. And with wrestling of the
You're just going to pretend like this isn't happening.
You think that I want to do this? Like I can't wait to go to war? I think so much.
You think y'all Marines? I said, do you think y'all are Marines? You might be happy to be a Marine, but you look scared. Welcome to the brave Marine. Welcome to the brave.
I'm damn sure I'm gonna tell my kid I love him. We gotta come up with some kind of secret word. Put my man down.
Yeah, I like that.
Anytime I want to say I love you, what am I gonna say to you?
Linda.
Rated R in theaters tomorrow.
the Japanese or even being in that market, it's the same way. It's a whole different market. And then it just totally cut that whole 1% of charismatic women that even had it in the States down to even half of that could go over to Japan. So Leilani, Judy Martin, there was a few others. And then we had Nick Bockwinkel come over and be a referee in one of the matches, and boy, him and I almost went eye to eye, boy. It was like, I don't know. It was just, there was some little, I loved Nick from AWA days. He was just highly intellectual, eloquent speaking, intelligent, and just Nick, if you know Nick, just whatever. But him and I didn't agree on a few things, but we remained very respectful, and we're still good friends, whatever. So, and then from Japan, I stayed there for a couple years, 3 years. I was getting ready to come back to the States. Before I left the States, I had a lot of things going on that I created myself. I had, I made my own posters, doing my own marketing. I had my own business cards for people who knew what those business cards were all about. I put together my own, profile package. I got a call from Playboy and asked for me to pose for Playboy before Playboy was even a thing in WWE. I went there and shot for Playboy, and then I got my call for Japan. Yeah, before y'all are sitting back there Googling fucking Playboy with the dude that didn't have
there's another thing you just glossed over. You glossed over breeding the wolves, and now posing for Playboy. Is it fruitless? Is it a fruitless task to search for these things, Medusa?
Okay, so anyway, I get called, and I go out, fly out, and I shoot for Playboy, and then I go back, and I'm getting ready, and I get the call to go to Japan. And here's my big thing. They wanted this all-American girl next door, squeaky clean, and I'm like, I just posed for Playboy. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And I go, I didn't sign my release. They go, and so I talked to my lawyer, and I even had a lawyer back then. The lawyers were cool. And and so I never signed the release to Playboy, dude. So they could not release the photos. And I still, in my safe, I still have 3 of the photos from the Playboy shoot, and I'm like, no way!
You've just made a collector's item there. You've just made 3 collector's items. You can now charge $10,000.
Well, those collector's items will totally melt and burn when I burn.
Where is the safe?
Oh, shut up, Brian. Now you're going to jump back in.
No, wait a minute. There is somebody here. What's up?
Yeah.
So,
that woke up.
So anyway, I did that. So, I was getting ready to go back to the States, and I was mailing, or whatever you call it, wire transferred back then, is my money each month from Japan for the last 2.5 years to this management team that I hired because I had all this stuff going on. I had my own posters coming out or being sold in Target back then, by the way, and that I marketed and promoted myself before any of this shit ever happened to anybody, and for women in the States. And I got a call from my CPA, and he said, Miss Deborah, you're about ready to come home in 6 months, and I just want to know where all your money's at. I said, what?
Oh, jeez.
That's a nice, no. Hold on. I said, what are you talking about? Well, there's a little bit coming in each month, and I never thought that was the full amount. And what you said you were coming, what was going to be wire transfer here, like the first 2 months of when you got contracted there, but you have no money. I said, excuse me? No, you have no money. Well, the money was being wire transferred to my management team, which was supposed to give it to my CPA. Well, they stole all of my money. Money was gone, Jimmy. 2.5 years gone. So I get back to the States again. I have nothing, nowhere to live, didn't have a car, $80,000 in debt to the IRS, $42,000 lawyer bills, and I was destitute. I was devastated. Never once mentioned it to anyone all these years. No one.
I didn't know. Yes.
Nope, you're probably the first or second I've ever even said it to. But it's slowly coming out, especially what's coming out in my biography. So, and it gets really in detail in there and what really went down. So, I lost everything, dude. I was beside myself. Did I? What do people do to get, when they ask for help or get money, welfare, what else with that other, when they, what's that? They file what?
Oh, bankruptcy.
Business goes under? Bankruptcy, yes, thank you. Nope, never did it. I paid back $80,000 in IRS. I paid back everything was done. I would not do it. I didn't do it. Never did it. Never freaking did it for the fear of how I never wanted to live, like how I was brought up as a child, how I never had anything fighting through my career. To me, it was easy street. That was too easy for me, and that was just giving up, and I refused to do it. And how did I do that? To go, you and I could probably talk for 6 hours. We don't have that long. But I'm going to fast forward real quick, go into Under Blaze and Medusa. And that is, I was dating. Don't even start laughing, dude, because he's a great guy. But I was dating Greg the Hammer Valentine. They called us the tortoise and the hare. And as a couple. Okay, now everyone's freaking chiming in. That's lovely. So, I don't know how it worked, but it did. I had a blast with it. Yeah, but I had a blast. It was a great time, just that time, and it fucking worked, and da-da-da-da. And anyway, so, it was Greg's affiliation with Pat Patterson. I don't know what that was. And he said, let me call Pat. He goes, you are such great talent. There's so many women out there that are just whatever.
Well, I remember.
If it wasn't for Greg the Hammer Valentine contacting Pat Patterson, probably Pat talking to Vince and convincing Vince when he probably didn't want me, because, Vince was probably too busy looking at another woman, and because he had Sherry, you know what I mean? Because Sherry left AWA when I was there to go there, and that was devastating for Ganya. So, and here I am. Here's my first son. She's in WWF, and here I get a call. Here I come again. She's like, no way. Like, this, I am back.
Well, and I remember when you came in, because '93 is when I started. When I was coming up from Smoky Mountain doing the TVs and the pay-per-views with the bodies and doing the thing with Yoko. It was the same time as you started, or Alundra Blaze started. And I remember, as a matter of fact, you mentioned it, Greg, at that time, and he was around a couple of times. But and I don't know, Tortoise and the Hare. I'm not sure which one was which, but nevertheless.
Shut up.
But no, well, let me ask you this: with the run in New York, because I mentioned it before. Part of my problem was I used to get excited to see some people come into the company, but they were still struggling. Vince was not accepting then of presenting people as who they were, rather than changing the name, coming up with this whole song and dance. I thought that. While I liked Rhonda Singh as a talent, Bertha Faye and Harvey Whippleman and it made it a comedy thing. It made it an underneath thing.
Funny stuff. Yeah, it was funny.
It wasn't as serious as it could have been. And I look now at 20 years later, they're presenting Charlotte as these girls now as legitimate athletes and as serious and having issues amongst each other. That doesn't have to be, the fat girl in polka dots with the skinny manager with the bow tie. It was so. You guys could have been so much more serious, and I think it might have ushered in a little bit more respect for the women's game as they have now today, if that makes any sense.
Okay, good. That was a great segue, and that there, you are so right, and I agree with you.
But you had shit to pay off too, so you couldn't press it too far.
No, listen. I was at the house with Greg, and I got the phone call from Pat, and then I started talking to Vince, and this is when we came to the agreement. He goes, I really like the name Medusa, so this is going to be great. And I said, well, what do you want me to do? Just give it up, or well, you have to sign it over, or sell it, or whatever. I said, sir, I can't do that. But I really don't want to just lose the Medusa name. I worked so hard for that. He goes, and then there was a silence. It fucking went dead, and I went, I just fired myself before I even got hired. I do it. Because I thought he hung up. I thought, oh, I'm not kidding. If I could have seen myself, I was probably white. I was probably, regurgitating and puking, ready to. And all of a sudden he goes, we'll come up with a name. We'll come up with a name. And then him and I came up with the name Alunder Blaze. And because I always thought, I like Blaze. And I like because it was fiery. It was, blazing the trails. It was, making shit happen. And Alundra was totally different. And so that's how it came. Vince said okay. And he came up with another name. And it was okay because I still got to be me. And I was athletic. And I didn't want to be the candy girl. And da-da-da. But at that time, it was so unfortunate. With Sherry and everything, and and all the adversities he started going through as a company and person, that the steroids, the IRS, and and then he so wanted me to be there to change the women's wrestling, to do stuff. He had an idea, and I believed in him, and we were going to conquer something to get this women's wrestling back. Because it was stagnant for how many years? And I'm so excited because
this is my chance. You basically, unfortunately, there wasn't anybody to dance with at that point. There wasn't anybody for you to work with.
But we were trying. We were trying, and so we brought, we started bringing in the Japanese, and we started utilizing what we had, and then there was Luna. Oh my God, hence the word Luna. There's another one I never knew if it was coming or going or what the hell she was on. I have the greatest freaking story about Luna too. What I could tell you some other time. We'll do a part 2, Cornette. And by the way,
well, wait a minute now. Don't leave us in suspense.
I am a Jimi Hendrix fan, by the way. I love that freaking purple shit, dude. Okay, so anyway, back in the WWE. I love the opportunity that he was about to give me and have and run in the short run. And I totally was beside myself when I got the call from J.J. Dillon that I wanted to punch in the freaking head, which wasn't his fault, that said, we're letting you go. And I said, why? What did I do? He said, absolutely nothing. You're everything that he wanted. He said, but we're going through changes. And I said, but why? Why does it have to be me? I mean, I have to put food on the table. This is important to me. This is what I love. This is what I do. This is all I know. This is not all I knew, but that's what that's what I love.
Well,
and I let him go because it was the women. And he goes, "You're an enhancement, and he's got to make changes. He's got to save the company." And I said, "Well, save it with me. I can do this. I can do this." And I've seen all these visions of, whatever. And I said, "Okay."
I'm not sure that your presence, positively or negatively, would impact the very existence of the company. I don't know why they. Medusa, if we only could save the money we're paying you, we could save the company. So, but no, in all seriousness, the way that I looked at it was that they only brought in one challenger for you at a time. Whether it be, I think they brought Bull in for a while, or they brought in, like I said, Rhonda Singh, Bertha Faye forever. It seemed like there wasn't a large talent pool. There wasn't. It just there wasn't
writing, different people. Yeah. It was a different thing. They didn't do things like how they did now. Just imagine if I was involved in any type of angle now, compared to what they had then. I mean,
oh my God,
she's different. But it wasn't.
But most of the time was spent on the love affair for the ages between Bertha Faye and Harvey. But anyway, what I have always been stunned about is when they decided to abolish the women's division. Yeah. And this is where the fun stuff comes in, because technically. I don't know if people realize it, but that you indirectly led to the Montreal screw job. So in effect, Medusa Michelli, you screwed Brad. But when they abolished the women's division, they didn't even bother to have you drop the belt or even take possession of the belt or have some kind of lineage for their championship, whatever. They just, oh, don't worry about it. And
well, you know what? They weren't thinking of that, and neither was I. I didn't say, you know what? Oh, I still got the belt. I can screw them, and neither were they thinking, nor is she going to do it. That's not what was on their mind. So legitimately, on their defense, they were thinking about trying to get this company to stay on the freaking road and survive, keep what they had. Because if they were thinking vindictively, they would have took the belt from me. And that's just truth that they weren't. So to be under defense on that one little part, okay. However, it still pissed me off, and it wasn't right because women were let go first. And boy, when after that happened, I was on a freaking, I was determined to make a difference. I was determined to be heard. I had it. I was ready to make a revolution back then. I remember telling Bishop, I said, this is it. Actually, it was true what I did say in my Hall of Fame speech. I was on the toilet when I got the phone call from Bishop. He goes, what are you doing? I said, you don't want to know.
That's what I was going to say, because when you left, you had no intention of taking the belt and throwing it in the garbage can on TV, and nobody. But how did it evolve? Who first came up with the spark? Tell the story of how the evil mind that came up with the sparks.
Well, there's a lot of twists in this, and I got to save a lot from my movie. Did I just say that? My book.
The book is going to be so good, they're going to make a movie out of it.
Okay, that too. Okay, so I was in the dresser. I was on the toilet, and he said, "What are you doing, Deuce?" And I said, "Well, I guess you heard. Yep, that's why I'm calling." Okay. He said, "I'm really sorry about that." And I said, "Well, I am too, but I believe it's for other reasons, and I'm going to believe it's not just because I'm a shitty talent." And he said, "Well, I've got something for you. So you interested?" And I said, "Yeah." We talked about money. I said, "Okay." And he goes, "You still have that title?" And I said, "Well, why do you ask? That's funny." I said, "Never even thought about it." "Yeah, I got the title. Why?" He goes, "Dude, you're in Nitro this coming Monday and bring the title with you." I said, "That is freaking Vince's. Are you kidding me?" I said, "I need to get it back." "What do you want me to do? Just cut a promo or something?" He goes, "Yeah, we're going to cut a promo." I said, "Just bring the belt." I said, "I need that freaking belt back. I need to send it back to Vince." He goes, "Okay, no problem." So ostensibly, his idea was to use it to get his attention. And then what I did was go on the air and change and make and start the Monday Night War. And that's exactly what happened. That was it. I was pissed. I was pissed that, I was woman, and I was the breadwinner again, in my family, and I had to, why? And I just felt so hurt. I'm not kidding. I felt like I'm whining, but I'm going to fucking whine right now after 20, 30 years. I was so hurt because I thought, God, I'm good. I'm talent, and why does the women got to let go first? Damn it, why don't we need something? And I'm going to make a mark. I'm going to change women's wrestling. And there I am thinking I'm going to change the world again,
Well, and you did. And you did, because I can
blackball me. It blackballed me from this for 21 years.
Well, but it worked out well in the end. You're in the Hall of Fame. See, there's even hope for me if that's the case, But no, I can vouch. Oh yeah, there you go. Alarm bells go off when my name is spoken out loud in Stamford. But anyway, I can vouch for the fact that the precedent that set was what led to Montreal indirectly, because Vince McMahon.
I rose awareness. Let's just put it that way. I rose awareness.
Well, Vince McMahon had absolutely no faith whatsoever that Eric Bischoff would not go on the next day after Survivor Series on his television. He knew Brett wouldn't go out there and take the belt or whatever, but he thought he could believe that Eric Bischoff would go out and say, "I just signed the WWF champion, and this is going to happen, and that's going to happen," and that's what led to that drop dead date, so to speak. And so theoretically,
you really believe that was it? You really?
I'm just telling you. But so basically, You know, you not only wrestled but trained at WCW. Then after that, trained some folks, but when WCW folded up because of the issues that hadn't been settled at that point, you pretty much in 2001, ECW was gone, WCW was gone. Suddenly, Vince the only game. That's when you left the business. Was it? It was as much because you figured, well, this one fucking guy don't like me, and then also the way that the business at the time was you know what really was being presented, right? The bra and panty pillow fights instead of what you.
Yeah. Let's tap. Let's use this word. If we're gonna talk about bra and panties, let's tap on that for a minute. All right? Okay. So let me pat that ass. All right. So as we're gonna back up a bit. So when I was in the WWE and I was getting ready to go, I saw things changing. You know, it wasn't about women's wrestling, and yet I thought things were because of, you know, the steroids and the issues and the IRS issues and da-da-da-da, but they wanted something different. So after me, what was it, a couple years later, though Sunny was just starting when I was leaving, and she was just a manager. She wasn't a wrestler. And
Right.
She was the start of the whole new era, the diva, basically. And then came China, I believe.
No, Sable was next. Sable was next. Then China.
Sable was next? Okay, yeah. Sable.
I always hoped that sometime we could have a China Sable death match so I could get rid of at least one of them, but it never came to pass. Anyway.
It never happened. Yes, it never happened. However, now, here's something that somebody doesn't know. I'm not going to share this because I'm going to save it for my phone. It's fucking huge, right? Nope, I'm saving it. I almost said it, but I'm not going to. So, when I was there, I saw one figurine of China coming in, and it was this huge, humongous, I didn't know what it was, that it had heels, and I thought, holy shit. And I go, whoa, what was that? Who was that? And so that's some girl named China, and they're going to use her as a bodyguard, and I'm like, okay. And I was just confused at that point, and then that's when I got my letter and left, but there's a lot that happened right there that I'm not going to mention, that I will share in the book. And then
on the Cornette Experience, you always almost get the real scoops. You're this close to get scoops.
You know,
right here.
I will give you the scoop. I always give a little bit of a scoop, but I will tell you that no, I can't. It will set fire. I'm telling you, I do not. No, I can't even say that. No. Anyway, dude, I am not kidding. Okay, so nevertheless, to get blackballed for another 21 years? What the hell?
Oh, my God, my stomach.
No.
Oh, God.
So, okay, going back to WCW. So the shit was changed. Girls were changed, and I saw what was coming in. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell just happened to wrestling? You know, are they starting to compete against this new attitude? The attitude era was nothing but, I mean, that was just straight up hard. That was just soft porn. I mean, it was just, good Lord. And, I mean, nothing against anybody. Nothing against any one of them performers.
Nothing against anybody, but all of them suck. You all suck. You can blow me, but nothing against anybody. But no, I'm a cranky old man also. But there are good things. There are good things about modern athletes.
Remember, they're all actors and actresses. They were all actors and actresses, and everybody had a position.
They play these parts on TV, is what they do.
Yes, and they all had a position.
Yes. So, wonder what your favorite position was. Nevertheless, let me ask you: Do you watch the NXT girls, or do you watch the WWE girls now, Charlotte and Sasha, and do you watch any modern now that they're putting more emphasis on the girls' athleticism and treating them a bit more seriously instead of this fluff stuff, do you watch anything, or can you bring yourself?
Okay, let's one step back. So on the defense of what we were laughing at, really, all those girls had a purpose and a meaning, and they wanted to be there, and they were hired for a reason, and it was absolutely one of the greatest, not the greatest, but it was awesome. The Attitude Era was cocky as hell, and I wish I could have been a part of it because it was full blown in your face, punch you who gave a crap, and I loved every little part of it. I did, but there's people sitting back like myself, like, damn, I wish I could have been a part of that, So, somebody come here a second. Okay, so you can sit there and be angry at people, or you can actually join in and be happy for them, whatever. But I have my views and feelings on some things, but no one gives a crap about that. So yes, and then back over to what we were talking about, and then we'll get over to you and how you are asking me about NXT and the women of today, and that is when I was over in WCW and started the whole, Monday Night War. It's not something that I sat and said I'm going to do to piss Vince off. I didn't even think that way. But like I said before, ostensibly it was his reasoning and why he did that for the title being trashed in the can, because he wanted to get back at, get his attention, Vince's attention. And he did it. However it did, it was huge, and it was one of the best, back and forth and money making times.
Vince was not keeping track of his belts. Like he just abolished the women's division and left you with the men's belt. 2 years later, he lets his men's champion negotiate a deal with Turner Broadcasting before he drops the belt. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know the whole story. I don't know the whole story on that one, but
that's what I always thought for a couple of years there. I was like, what is it's like George Carlin used to say about God. He's not good with money. He always needs more money. Whereas Vince wasn't good with his belts. He didn't keep track of his champions. He should.
That poor guy. But he learned a lesson, just like all of us do at some time or another. We do learn that hard lesson. So
there you have it.
Not that. Yes.
So do you watch? Do you watch today's the ladies?
I'm getting there. So I see what's happening. Vince buys. I get this rumor. I get this thing. The inside, like a year before it's happening, Vince is gonna buy WCW. I'm like, no way. He buys WCW while I'm employed, or if he wants to hand pick or do whatever, he can take my Medusa name. I'm out of here. I go, you don't like me anyway. I'm out of here. You don't want me. So I'm like, I give up my notice. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm not renewing my contract. They're kind of looking at me going like, does she know something, or why is she doing this? And not even knowing what the hell I was going to do, I get a call out of the blue, and they say, Deuce, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just chilling. What are you doing? And they go, well, how would you like to drive a truck? I said, excuse me, you need a freaking semi? No, dude, I don't want to drive a semi. They go, no. You drove four-wheelers and dirt bikes and stuff, and right? And I'm like, yeah. They go, do you want to drive a monster truck? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I've never even seen one. Never been to a show. I don't even know what the frick they do. What are you talking about? So they go, dude, check this out. And so it gives me this whole dissertation of, monster truck history, life. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So they fly me out. I test drove this monster truck over at Kill Devil Hills with the legendary Dennis Anderson of Gravedigger. Great guy. He puts me in a Gravedigger truck, and we make up this track, and going over these big cars and these hills that we thought were really huge back then. And he hold on one second. Hey, can you hold up on the drawing, please? Just for a little bit. Sorry. I've got somebody here remodeling my house. Sorry.
I do, but the monster truck, because I went on the internet, the Medusa driving monster truck, right? And there's a picture of you in this truck, and it's sitting on its end. It's the nose is straight up in the air, and you've balanced it somehow. You
That's
take
badass.
so you drive over shit, and do flips and shit.
Yeah, so I'll just skim right through that real quick. So anyway, I'm out there, Dennis Anderson, he guides me, I jump a few cars, boop, 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 land in the pond, upside down, land it, and I'm like, all the dudes are looking at me, I get out, and I go, have you ever driven a truck? I said, no, they go, you're hired. Here I am, fast forward, 17 years later, two-time champion, their only woman champion, only woman that's ever won 2 championships, and legit championships. However, we have a new company that came in and bought Monster Jam, and they own Barnum and Bailey Circus, Disney on Ice, and they're all entertainment now. So,
wait, you mean the business went from a shoot to a work? The monster truck business?
I don't know. Listen to this. It's kind of like the old days in wrestling in kayfabe, dude. I never was told it was real or entertainment, and I'm still confused. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
this could be a big thing in the monster truck world. If they've gone from shooting to working, we don't know what the fuck.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Is there a Toots Mont of the monster truck world that's manipulating this whole? Well, now, Deucey, where can people find out? Where can they go to find out what you're doing? So if you're going to be driving something or flying something or grooming something or training something near them, and they can see it because it's in public, how do they find out where to?
So sweet. You can just catch me on all my social media, which I'm highly active on, which is Medusa, MADUSA, or Medusa_rocks on Twitter and Instagram. So thanks. Or else Medusa.com, which is being revamped, my new website. So, and then after that, when I got word of Vince buying out, I got out of there, went to Monster Truck in 17 years, and then I got a call. I was in a driver's meeting and getting ready for a show, and I got actually a text. And I noticed the area code. I'm like, 203. What is that? That's the East Coast. Hi, Medusa. Could you give me a call right away? This is Mark from Talent Relations in WWE.
Oh, he's from the Hall of Fame 2 years ago, right? Was it last year or year before?
Yeah, this is like 2 years, 2015. And so I'm thinking, damn, what fan got my number? Damn it. So I just disregarded it. I deleted it. And then I, me getting inducted. Are you kidding me? Right? Never even crossed my mind. I knew I was written off for good. That's period what was done, and I was going on in life, And so I get another text, a couple hours. Could you please call right away? This is Mark from WWE. We need to talk to you. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe, no, this is who's screwing with me? I go, well, wait a minute, it could be that. Maybe they need my new address to send me a residual check for a buck or two, or my taxes or something, So I waited, and I got done with the driver's meeting, and he sent me his number, and I called. I said, this is Deborah, this is Medusa. I said, who's this? This is Mark from WWE Talent Relations. How are you? And I said, I'm great. Do you need my address for taxes, or... He started laughing. He goes, no. And I said, well, what are you calling me for? He goes, well, we were just wondering if you'd be interested in, if we picked you, we'd really be honored if you would accept going into the Hall of Fame. I think I fell over, dude. I said, is this a joke? I said right away, is this a joke? What? What'd you say?
I said, has Vince heard about this? Have you checked with him?
Yeah, I heard that. Did you? No, you know what? I think I said, no, I did. I swear to God. In Toronto, probably, just back it up. I go, are you sure? I go, I think I did. I said, are you sure it's okay? I swear to God, that's what I did say. I go, are you sure it's okay? Because, he goes, oh no. He goes, oh no, that's fine. He goes, if it wasn't for, maybe, yeah, he goes, no. he goes, we have new vision, and Hunter batted for you. He made all the changes, and everybody is up. Everyone is so excited. And I said, what? It was like it never happened. It was so weird, Jimmy. It was amazing.
Well, actually, when you think about it, it was the 20-year statute of limitations, because that's in wrestling forever. Life sentence is 20 years. So because it was 1990 2015, your statute of limitations ran out. Your slate was wiped clean. The 20-year.
That's what it was. It was 20 years, I swear. And I go, are you serious? Are you sure, Mr. Are you sure it's okay? He started letting go of his nuts when he told me about those things, and I thought, oh my God. So I was in shock, and I was getting ready to go race, and I was standing there with my fire suit, just in my, no pun intended, but I was standing there in my broad.
Everybody named Blaze has the fire suit. If you're
So,
yeah.
That's funny. So standing there in my brown panties with my fire suit around my ankles, and I hang up the phone and I start screaming. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And I'm the only one in my room that can enjoy it, so it's just me. And he told me to be quiet, don't say anything. Of course, I couldn't say anything for months. And that's how it happened. And then, you said something about Charlotte earlier and the people I watch and what do I think, and we're gonna kind of close it this way, and that's because this will be a great closure, and it's when there's so much to say in between, there's so much more, but I'm gonna go right to the Hall of Fame. When I was at the Hall of Fame, and I was being inducted, and they had a rehearsal day. And I was at the podium with my hair in rollers, no makeup, and we were practicing, the walk-in entrance, and then blah, 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 and then you got your time to leave. And so I was all in rollers. I was walking out on the stage, and I was, I wasn't nervous or anything, and I was standing there, and all of a sudden, everyone, the Total Divas and everybody were filming me and doing my stuff, and so I was used to that already. And all of a sudden, I'm standing there, I was here, Alondra. I went, what? That sounds familiar. I turned around and it was Vince, and I said, oh my God. And I knew I was going to run into him sooner or later, but I didn't know right there, standing with no makeup and hair and rollers and looking like Jack, just. And I said, oh my gosh, Vince. And he didn't change, really. He didn't change. And I said, oh my God, you look hot. This is the stupid thing that came out of my mouth. I'm standing there and I go, oh my God, you look hot. He goes, Alondra. And I go, you look amazing. Oh my God, you haven't changed. He goes, you look pretty good there too.
It was about 15 years ago that they replaced him with an android, and since then he hasn't changed.
That was his emoji coming alive, standing there, dude. Let me tell you. So he looked amazing, and I looked at him. He looked at me, and I gave him the biggest hug. He gave me the biggest hug, and he held me so tight. I held him so tight, and the words I whispered in his ear, and I said, "I am so sorry." And tears started coming to my eyes, but I swallowed them. And we let go, and he just kind of looked at me and winked, and I said, I just kind of cocked my head. He said, it's really great to see you. And I said, it's amazing. I said, I can't believe I'm here. I said, thank you. This is great. And I was smiling, real happy, jovial, blah, blah, blah. And this is his words. And then we're getting to the whole Charlotte and coming to the end here. And he said, I'll never forget this. And this is what validated everything in my whole career, and all the choices that I thought could have been wrong or whatever. And he said, we need women like you. The women that I chose when I wanted you to wrestle back then is what I need now and want, and this is our direction, is you. And this is our, you're like the image of what we had then to bring back now. And I just looked at him and I was just like, holy crap. Thank you. I just, all those years that whatever, I got blackballed, just was handed to me, whatever, that thank you. Sometimes it's just those little things. And I know I could, beating for 20 years or whatever, but I didn't understand. But it was just maybe just that little bit. And things do change. Things can change. Whatever it was awesome. They've been good to me ever since, Jimmy. They've been great. What has happened is whatever we go through in our experiences, if we feel like we still got heat or we never will be there or we never won't, never say never. I am a prime example, and I will tell you, and everyone out there listening that if if I can be blackballed for 21 years and be reconsidered and accepted back, I mean, there's
hope for almost anyone.
There's hope for anyone. If I can be accepted back, there's hope for anybody. Let me tell you. And because
I'd like to still volunteer to be the measuring stick. If you've got any less heat than Cornette, you could have hope.
You could have hope.
I'll be the measuring stick. If you have Cornette heater over, you're fucked. But if you have less heat than Cornette, then you can. Never. But
Cornette, how can anyone not love you? You are
I don't know.
How can anyone? I mean, you are you're a money maker from your mouth, and I mean that with respect.
Well, could it have been something I said? I don't know.
I can see it. I don't know.
Anyway, what do you think, Brian? Brian, are you still awake? What do you think?
I'm still trying to figure out how to crack that safe to get the 3 photos.
Hey, now.
Hey. No.
Now, before you get us kicked off the air, Brian, with some sexist comment, we don't want people thinking that. Medusa, thank you very much for being part of the program today. And I enjoyed catching up with you and hearing the story about.
We didn't even get to talk about us. We didn't even get to talk about us.
Well, now wait a minute. I don't know whether we should divulge all of this.
I'm talking about wrestling. I mean, you and I don't have a big history in wrestling, really. I mean, as far as a lot of years on the road,
We intersected like ships in the night there for that little formative period of time, and then you went your way and I went mine, and never the twain shall meet, or as they say.
Right.
But we always. I've been a fan of your work. I've been like Joe Franklin would say. I love your work. I've been a fan of your work for many years. Many years. But I have.
So let me at the end of this segment. I was the first Paul Heyman girl.
I don't hold that against you.
Okay. I love Paul. I love Paul, and I love you, and I am so blessed that I know both of your work, both of your artisticness in what you do are impeccable. And I think you two are amazing, and I would love to see both of you on one show together someday in history.
I don't know whether the FCC would allow something like that to take place. You were in the Dangerous Alliance. I want to say you were in the Dangerous Alliance in WCW. You were a Paul Heyman girl, but I never had the option of bringing you into my group. Or you could have been an honorary member of the Midnight Express. You could have been the Medusa Midnight.
Could you imagine your group against our group?
That would be entertaining group. If you and I had ever had groupness with each other, it would have been so. There's a line there. So I don't know where I was going to mention you when you said you were Heyman's first. Actually, he was a nervous wreck the first time he had sex. He was all alone, and so it was. Thank you. I got happy Heyman, my friend.
So funny. Poor Paul.
He's always been a good judge of talent, and so have I. So we have agreed on things in the past. Talent.
Yes, you two are great. Absolutely great. And you know what? I didn't get to mention the Dangerous Alliance. That was probably one of the greatest, biggest turning points of my career, besides winning the men's cruiserweight title in WCW. And even though that they were always trying to fight against me in that whole freaking organization. ricocheted back to them, and it made me, even a better person. So I just thank you for everything. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for letting me speak my mind. Thank you for letting me say the word fuck 10 times. Let me just thank you.
That's one thing. You did not meet our fuck quota because normally our guest has to say fuck at least 20 times on the show, or elsewise it doesn't count. But we'll let you slide on.
Well, for unlawful carnal knowledge, I will just skip all of that.
Well, and ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Medusa, for being our guest this week. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Last, my co-host, is now trying to find the secret location of the.
Is he on Google? Is he on Google how to crack safe?
I'm trying to see the best way to crack a safe, and it appears that the most reliable method is to rent a monster truck and crash through the wall of the bank. So that's what I'm looking at now.
Oh, damn! Now you're gonna, or perhaps even crack my own safe.
Perhaps you could crack her safe with a bit of nitro. But anyway, oh God!
Oh, you're
all right,
funny.
yeah. All right, but I'm going to wind this episode up for Medusa Michelli.
Can I wind it down for one
Brian
minute?
Last.
Let me wind it down.
Yes,
Let me wind it down.
You wind it down. You wind it down.
Okay, let me wind it down here. First of all, I told you where you can go, not to hell, but for me to go on all my social media if you want to contact me. And secondly, you wanted to know where I'm going, what I'm doing, what's happening. I don't want to get into all about me, but there's one thing I'm really proud of that's happening, and there's so much that is. I have written my first children's book, and it's a series of 4, and it should be published out this November. And it is so amazing, cute, I'm excited. So I had to mention that.
And that's a different book than the one you said you were saving the story for that you couldn't tell because it might get you in trouble, because I would think that would be too
Exactly. That's why I'm coming out with the children's book first, so I look like I'm this really great person.
And then you'll come out with the time you spent in the red light district in East Berlin.
Oh,
all right, anyway.
I've only been to Amsterdam once.
Just once is all it took. Ladies and gentlemen, for Medusa Michelli, Brian Last, and our producer Styles Bitchley, I'm Jim Cornette. We'll see you next week on The Experience, everybody.